I think I'm gonna need to start learning Tamil. As a villain, you don't feel you're doing anything wrong. I'd like to work more here in the Tamil. In Captain Miller now, it's quite a different. I'm the boss.
Hello, sir. Vanakkam from Chennai.
Vanakkam. Thank you.
So, Mr. Edward. So, every movie is a lesson. So, what was your biggest lesson as an actor from Captain Miller?
Gosh, it's hard to choose the biggest lesson. I think perhaps the first one that comes to mind is I'd like to work more here in the Tamil movie industry because it was such a great experience. I think I'm gonna need to start learning Tamil.
So, have you started like few words, or can you understand some kind of Tamil words?
You know, I was doing okay while we were shooting because I just kept on asking people and writing stuff down and all that. But you know, we haven't been shooting for a long time now, so I can't say I would remember anything. So
what was the
please don't quiz me.
So, what is the most frequent words on the set? Some Tamil words.
That was what I realized right on, was everything. Okay. See, I've been living in Mumbai, working in the Hindi industry for for 16 years now. So Hindi's no problem. I do most of my work there in Hindi only. But I realized, yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with Tamil. It's a whole other language. So I need to get started, I think, because I do look forward to doing more here in Tamil cinema.
Cool. So being an antagonist is not an easy deal, because though we have been continuously working on an antagonist, some British kind of, many kind of roles, but still, at the end of the day, you're gonna screwed out by the hero. So you should be ready for that, even while starting the movie itself. So how you would be prepared mentally for your role? Are you okay?
It's my job.
Okay.
You know, and I love it. Obviously, I think there's always a part of me that, enjoys, doing different kinds of roles, which I also do, not always the colonial villain that gets defeated in the end, but that's the majority of my work, and it's good fun. And the way I prepare myself for it is just to, remind myself that no villain thinks he's a villain. I mean, I am just someone who's doing his job, doing what he's told, and doing what he thinks is best. And that's how I approach it, so that it gives that sense of realism and just humanity to a character that you might not actually think has that.
Okay, so exactly what you said, like being a colonial villain. So in many movies, you have been acted as this kind of role. So what kind of difference actually you put into yourself and as an actor? So it shouldn't be repeated on the other movies. Like, what's the biggest difference you feel between Triple R and Captain Miller? Though it's kind of little kind of same role. I'm not sure about that, but what we have heard.
Right. No, they're both colonial villains, true, but there are definitely differences. Like, for example, with Triple R, as you mentioned, there, my role was basically to carry out the orders of my boss, whereas, which gave me a lot to do in the film, but still my agency as Edward in Triple R was reduced. That character was limited in how he could express whatever he wanted to do, but still he managed. However, in Captain Miller now, it's quite a different scene in that, I'm the boss, and I get to call the shots, and I get to do whatever I feel like from moment to moment, which doesn't mean I don't feel I'm being unprofessional, although it might look that way. But in Captain Wandy's mind, he's doing his job really well.
Okay, okay. So we have been seeing some pictures of Captain Miller on spot shootings, on spot pics. So it was like filled with people, like 1,000+ Englishmen and junior artists everywhere. There is bloods and guns and bullets. So how were the sets? How about the experience on Captain Miller? Because you have worked in some very big Bollywood movies, example like Triple R. So how, comparing to that, I think even Captain Miller is like equal to that.
Oh, absolutely. Is as far as the action scenes go and the quality of the production, is definitely right up there. I had a great time with, all of that, the explosions and the bullets and the action. I feel like actually this was a film where, even though my character is very reserved and contained in a way, he's also involved in quite a bit of the action scenes. So I had to really get my, my action hat on, as well as, my harness on, literally, and also, at the same time be ready for, some very just contained and that quietly menacing kind of sense of character, in the same film. So I enjoyed the action.
Okay, so have you watched some previous movies of director Arun Madheshwaran? Have you heard of?
Of course, of course. I know he did Rocky, and that made a big scene. I unfortunately have not had a chance to find it. I looked for it online, and somehow it's not streaming. But I went through the trailer quite a bit, and I got a good sense of, his aesthetic, which I really, really vibed with.
Right. So we Tamil audience like we little bit feel like Arun Madheshwaran is bit so brutal and raw in his movies. So the kind of actions what he shows is very different from other directors. It's like very raw. So what you felt on the sets of Captain Miller during the action sequence? It was still raw and rustic.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there was a lot of spontaneity in what we were coming up with, on the spot. Um, Dilip Sir, the action director, was great to work with. He was very patient with someone like me who's not a trained fighter, but I was able to really test my limits, as far as what I could do physically, in the action, in the fight
What was the most
sequences.
risky thing you did for Captain Miller? Can you know?
As I said, I got harnessed up, so I had a few explosions to survive, and that was good fun. I mean, you have to just surrender and trust, that everything's going to hold, that everyone knows what they're doing, and I was able to do that. This team is really strong.
Right, neatly put. So very recently we had a conversation with the art director Ramalingam, the Captain Miller's art director. So he was showing us some very old knife and guns and rifles. So those have been auctioned from the 1930s or
Yeah,
1940s.
yeah.
So it was like really great. So what was your feel handling those kind of pistols and guns? It was like very real.
Yeah, yeah. No, that really helps as an actor to have that kind of authenticity around you, right from the costumes and the vehicles, and, the tents and the weaponry was very authentic. It's always a little, as an actor, you're prepared to work with whatever you have, and it's okay. But when you get, like, some real machinery in your hands, and you get to, use it always helps, and you always appreciate it. So that was really nice.
So being a villain is not an easy deal. So what's your method or what's your kind of acting to show villainism? So you haven't given any dialogues or the director is saying like just you have to show some reactions and you have to deliver that villainism through your eyes and face. So what is your method of acting?
As I said earlier, as an actor doing a quote negative role, I approach it as I would any role. Just, this person has his reasons, and he doesn't feel like he's a villain. So if I need to find, like, an emotion in me, then I think of something that, like, just, bothers me. I'm driving, somebody cuts me off, and that emotion of irritation, is something I'm very familiar with, right?
But
So,
in Chennai we are very used to that.
oh,
Someone's
I've been
cutting
driving in
like
Mumbai
yes.
for 15 years now.
Then even you used to that, right?
Yeah, so used to it, but still, it's still, after like so many years of driving, there's always somebody who does something new that, just like, gosh, what were you thinking? So you take that, what is he thinking? I gotta, like, these people, man, these people, whatever that emotion is. So as an actor, you take those kind of those memories, those emotions that you're familiar with, you apply them to what that character has to do. And in this case, like I said, as a villain, you don't feel you're doing anything wrong, right? Most of the time. So it's just like, these people, I got to kill them, whatever it is, that same emotion. And so you get that feeling of quiet, menace, by approaching something horrific as everyday annoyance, or every day this is my job, you know. And so that's how I think we got a feeling of you know, of kind of horror and menace in a character, because he doesn't feel he's doing it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time and
Thank
honesty.
you so much.